What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. It's 3 p.m. and we got a lot to discuss today. Chainlink being the main topic. It will be our second discussion point, though. Price is down. People are saying, man, is Tim still crazy for being so bullish on Bitcoin? Well, I find myself in good company as whales continue to buy and put it off into cold wallets for long-term storage. The time to buy cheap Chainlink is running out. Take advantage of the opportunity now. We're going to cover what the charts look like, what could be coming next, and what it's looking like is coming in the next year for Chainlink prices. Also, Bitcoin price, a little volatile today, going up and going down. Lots of stories affecting price. There's some new FUD out there that a lot of people, it's not so much new actually, it's recurring FUD. A lot of people are freaking out about, but here at the Investing Bros, we are not worried whatsoever. Why? You got to watch the entire video to find out. First, though, make sure you do not leave this video before you smash that like button. And if you are new, watch all the way to the end. Please consider hitting that subscribe button. We just hit 26,000 subscribers. We are probably weeks away from 30K. Be one of the first 30,000 subscribers right now. Let's get into the show. But first, we got to roll the intro. T-Shroom. I think the internet is cooperating today, at least a little bit. I don't know if we get pixelated Tim yet or not, but it's day number 2 with our new sets. T-Shroom moving temporarily before a bigger move, and myself coming back home with our nice home set. T-Shroom, how you feeling today with your new setup and how your portfolio is looking?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling pretty good. Prices are obviously moving up to the right. I would say I'm not seeing as much excitement now that we're back up above 60 as I thought there would be. I think folks are kind of like, this is what's supposed to happen. We're supposed to see prices come up. So feeling maybe a little bit of an entitled attitude. I can't say that I'm completely abstaining from that myself. I'm also feeling a little bit like, let's keep pumping here. But, overall appreciative, trying to stay intentionally appreciative and better than I deserve, Tim. So how are you?
You know what that means, T-Shirt? It means that the people that we're paying attention to, we're watching, are mature and good investors. Because if you look at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index on my screen, we're back in the greed. I mean, literally just a couple of days ago, we were sitting not only in fear, but extreme fear down at 25. Now we are back into green in the greed. They're at 65 today. Does this mean I'm bearish? No, it doesn't mean I'm bearish. It just means, hey, could there be a small retracement? Absolutely there is. And you know what that means, T-Shroom? When price retraces just a little bit, more buying opportunity for everyone who's smart and understands how these markets do move. Got a super chat right out of the gate from Pew Pew Cruz saying, shout out to you, Tim, for giving condolences to the man who died at the rally. You're the only one who did so out of many YouTubers. Testament of who you are. Thank you. Hey, thank you for that. I mean, I don't know if I was the only one. I'm sure there were several others, but you want to find out more about who we are as people. I think we're pretty good at crypto markets, but I mean, we honestly do care about people, and that gets reflected every single day here on the show. And so, Pew Pew Cruz, you could have said a lot of things that would have made me feel good about what we're doing. But anytime people can see the character of T-Shirt and myself, that's the biggest compliment. I mean, hopefully we get a lot of calls right. But the biggest thing is that we don't compromise our character along the way. That is key here for the Investing Bros. But let's get into what's happening in the markets, T-Shroom. Let's go check out what bubbles are looking like. A lot of green today. A lot of green. WorldCoin, that the biggest gainer it is. Again, up 21.4%. Can you make money in WorldCoin? Absolutely, you can. This goes right back to what I just talked about, though, character. Are you going to feel good about yourself if you make money on WorldCoin? This is a scary project that definitely wants to get you underneath its thumb. You're never going to catch Tim owning any WorldCoin, even if that number is plus 1,000,000,000% to the upside. I'm not going to go and buy that project. But someone did, and someone's pumping it here pretty nicely. PopCat for the second day is one of our biggest movers. Core having a fantastic day, up almost 20%. Pepe, Whiff, they're doing very good. Floki's doing good. Arweave's doing pretty good. You got a handful of other projects we really love here. Near, FET, Injective, all doing very well. You know what? And I have a special treat for people at the end of the show today. I actually, towards the end, I want to talk to you. You know, I've been on a little bit of a tirade against meme coins. I want to make sure people understand my stance. So I'm going to go a little bit more into meme coins. We're going to talk about acceptable meme coins. What makes a meme coin acceptable to invest in and what makes it unacceptable? Because most of my wrath towards the meme coin community is not at the majority. It's not even at the top ones. It's at the minute little ones. But I'm going to tell you what goes into my thinking as to whether a coin is something worth investing in or not worth investing in. Let's keep going on, though, and take a look. Let's go ahead and go over to our Bitcoin TA for the day. Gave you a quick snapshot of what we are looking at for Chainlink here in just a couple of minutes. But first, as always, we got to start off with the biggest market mover of them all. That is Bitcoin. What is it doing here today? We are barely in the green after falling today back down towards 62,500. A lower time frame just really quickly kind of reflects on what the price is looking like. So we came down here towards 62, actually 62,400, rallied back up. Currently, we're sitting just beneath $65,000. What does this mean, though? I want to go ahead and start off by letting you know to be a little cautious when it comes to your investing. One of the reasons why is because we are seeing at the moment a sell-off be in place temporarily. I told you as we got closer to this level of resistance up here towards 66, this would probably come into play. I didn't know when exactly it was going to happen, but I told you yesterday, do not be surprised to see a little bit of a bearish divergence come into play where we set a peak, we got overextended with our oscillators, we're now dipping back down. Take a look at what's happening on the RSI. High yesterday came in here up to 80. Now this most recent high only made it back towards 70. All the while, we're seeing a double top, and I wouldn't be surprised to see price go up just a little bit higher, but the oscillators themselves, they will not go to new highs. This is going to set up some bearish divergence and will have a small little sell-off. Does that mean we're crashing to crazy new lows? No, it does not. It just means temporarily this is a good opportunity on some trades to take some profit and look for lower opportunities. One of which that I'm keeping an eye on right now is going to be back down here. It's going to be interesting. I said earlier that 59K was in play with this bullish order block in place, this breaker block. But as the 4-hour smart trail continues to climb, I don't think we can be so aggressive looking for lower pullbacks on Bitcoin. I'm going to have to come all the way down to the hourly chart to see what I think might be some strong support. And I don't know what. Oh, there we go. My mouse died for a second. Now it's back. So, T-Shroom, this might be a fun show. If my mouse dies, I still can control it with my keypad, but it's going to be weird. All right, we're going to pray to the Lord that my mouse stays alive. What I'm looking at to pull back down to the downside, do not be surprised if we only make it back down here roughly towards 62,400. You're going to notice right now we are running into some resistance. I said it could go a little higher, but I'm noticing as we're looking at these shorter time frames, we ran into a bearish breaker block where we're kind of rejecting right now, right here on 65K on the 4-hour chart. The hourly chart also running into its smart trail. So could it break up and above and come up closer above 66,000? Yes, it could. But again, do not be surprised to watch on the hourly chart and the 4-hour chart this bearish divergence come into play. We were massively overextended. We had a small cool off. We're making a second rally, but we're showing a lot less strength on this rally, which is a sign that the bulls temporarily on the shorter time frames, I don't want to scare you guys for long term, but on these shorter time frames, they are running into a little bit of exhaustion. And there's some reasons why. Before we cover some good news, let's take a second and get a little negative with our news. Dispel some FUD, though, T-Shroom, is the big thing I want to do here. But then we're going to talk about two big reasons that we should be bullish long-term on Bitcoin. Let's start off with the negative. Mount Gox. Remember that thing that we talked about 2 weeks ago that everyone was so afraid was going to crush the price of Bitcoin? But we told you guys, watch for the day that they actually start to make moves on July 5th to be a bottom signal, okay? Let's go back. Just so people see it. Let's go back and look at my screen, T-Shroom. What day did we bottom out on Bitcoin? Oh, would you look at that? It's the day that we talked about, July 5th. That was the day Mt. Gox started to disperse some of their Bitcoin. Now they're starting to go a little higher. T-Shroom, now let's go back to your screen. What is happening with Mt. Gox? Why is it back in everyone's headlines? And is it something we actually should be afraid of for the long-term Bitcoin price?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're newer to crypto, you may not know about something called on-chain analytics. It's different from the
Mm-hmm.
stock market because when you trade crypto, you can see what whales on down to minnows are doing with their funds. If they're taking them off exchange, if they're live selling, and so one of the firms that it does a really good job of tracking on-chain analytics is Arkham. So Arkham has reported here from their Twitter account update on Mt. Gox movements. They believe that this address is most likely associated with Kraken, one of the exchanges involved in repaying Mt. Gox creditors. This address received, brace yourselves, 48.6 thousand Bitcoin, equivalent to 3.1 billion. A very similar number to the amount that Germany was selling off when they first started. This is all from Mt. Gox this morning, which remains unspent. The remaining Bitcoin transfer this morning totaled 43,000 Bitcoin, just under 3 billion, is likely held by Mt. Gox trustee at this address and this address. So, Tim, what does this mean? It means that there's potentially we're not out of the woods yet, right?
Okay.
It could mean that this is all going to be parked where it is and it's going to be used as collateral for liquidity. That is another possibility. However, this money could be earmarked and distributed to thousands of addresses that were victims of the Mt. Gox fiasco. So, my analysis at this point is the way that the market's reacting to this is that it's not that bearish, because if it was, we would probably be back south of 60,000. I think that the market has most likely priced in this potentiality because we talk about on-chain analytics, whales and big market participants in crypto, they watch this on-chain stuff like a hawk. So they had to have known that this was going to happen. If the market's not selling off, it can't be that bearish. However, this does give me a little bit of pause that potentially whales are going to want to see this liquidity come off exchange before adding to their positions. So that's kind of the way that I'm looking at it.
Let me even take a look a little deeper here. This is why I don't think people should be that worried. First of all, as T-Shroom pointed out, it's actually a very similar amount, technically a little bit less than what we had going on with the Germany news. Now, it's come out, as we speculated a lot about Germany, even up to the last day. It looks like the details, while I still think there's a level of convenient timing based off of where the markets were and the attempt to want to get Bitcoin to lower levels so that institutions could buy before the real bullishness started. I still think there's manipulation in play. There is the argument to say that Germany has laws that after a certain period of time, they have to unload confiscated assets quickly, right? So the reason why Germany was so aggressive and so bearish for Bitcoin's price, driving us down below $53,000, was not only the amount, it was the timeliness, the volume of suppression on the price action that made it go to the downside. Here's why Mt. Gox is not anywhere close to as bearish. First of all, let's just make sure to go back to an argument we made 2 weeks ago. We just haven't had to talk about Mt. Gox here in 2 weeks. The first thing is that people are acting as if every single person that receives a refund from Mt. Gox is going to go straight to their local exchange and sell it. That's not going to happen. The reality is it's probably going to be a very small fraction. I'm not exactly sure how much, and truth be told, it's impossible to know how many people will sell, how many people will hold. But the first thing you need to know is that the majority of Mt. Gox, in my personal belief, will not be sold. These people were investors in Bitcoin back in 2014, back when price was hovering around $1,000 at the best. More than likely, a lot of people bought Bitcoin at 100. Whether or not they have massive gains from that, they see where Bitcoin has come in the last 10 years, and they also see where Bitcoin's going in the next 10 years. I would be highly, highly surprised if a large majority of people sell their Bitcoin. That's reason number one. Number two is let's just pretend people do start to sell Bitcoin. They're not all going to sell it at the exact same time. Let's just even pretend half of the Bitcoin is sold. Even if all of it was sold right in one moment, which is pretty hard to do, it's borderline impossible, that would only result in the volume being about a 5% dip in Bitcoin's price. A 5% dip, if this were to launch today, would only send Bitcoin price, and you don't have to go to my screen because it's very quickly, down to $61,000. 61,500 kind of to be exact. Nothing necessarily to be worried about. Ultimately, as Bitcoin is starting to rally, and I think that you are seeing, as T-Shroom kind of said, there's people getting in more bullish. There are people getting more optimistic. This is one of those fake out moves, I do believe. It's coming back into the headlines. It's becoming a big deal because they want retail investors to stop buying. They don't want you to be buying these lower levels. They want to buy them themselves. Who is they? Well, they, first of all, is the composite man. The composite man is a made-up term by Richard Wyckoff to talk about how massive institutions, once they get their hands on things, like to manipulate the space. They use the news, they use their friends and family, they use whales, and they use just classic good old price manipulation to get exactly the buying spots they want and exactly the selling spots they want. On this reference, I want to go back and reference something that I saw in chat from Redline. First of all, shout out to Redline. Thank you so much for being here. I've seen your name in here for a while, so thank you so much for being a avid, loyal community member here. I want to address what you said, though. He said, I feel the same way about anything that BlackRock touches as Tim does about WorldCoin. Principles override potential profit. Plenty of other crypto to make money on that I don't have to feed BlackRock. So first of all, that's part of what I'm talking about. I want to make sure people understand. When we talk about BlackRock, T-Shroom and I are not BlackRock supporters. I'm in the same boat as you are, Redline, in terms of saying I'm not a pro BlackRock person. There's a difference between what BlackRock owns and WorldCoin. And I'm explaining why. First of all, if you're going to stop investing in things that BlackRock invests in, I don't think you're going to have that many options left to invest in. You can't invest in real estate. You can't invest in most of the top cryptos. You can't invest in businesses worldwide because they got their hands on almost everything. Let me explain, though, the difference between WorldCoin and what's happening with BlackRock owning some of these other coins like Bitcoin, like Solana, like Chainlink, like Ondo. BlackRock owns these projects, not owns them in terms of makes the decisions for them, not has centralized power, owns assets in them because they see how valuable they're going to be. Whereas WorldCoin, the whole project of WorldCoin was built purposefully to get access to your private information and then take that data all the way down to the retina of your eyeball and have that information publicly known, more than likely so governments can have it. There's a big difference between a whole project built to violate your freedom and projects that were built to save your freedom. And it just so happens that organizations that don't want you to have freedom, they want to keep all the power themselves, happen to invest in. I see this as like a Trojan horse. If you think that Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these other great cryptocurrencies were going to evade large holders like BlackRock and large governments around the world, you're kidding yourselves. The creators didn't even think that was going to happen. But just like that story of the Trojan horse, where the horse comes in to Rome, it's Rome, right? Or is it's not Rome, but it's gosh, now we're getting to a history lesson here. It's not even a history lesson. It's a fictitious story. What is it? You're muted, T-Shroom. I can't hear you.
Well, it came from Troy because it's Trojan.
Troy. There we go. Thank you. Yeah. Trojans. So it's anyway, I got derailed by my story. The whole point is it got taken into the kingdom and it was a big attack on that kingdom. Obviously, there were soldiers hidden inside. They ended up destroying the entire town. It's not a true story. It's based off of a folk tale, pretty much, mythology. But the whole thing with Bitcoin is the same concept. Bitcoin is a currency that its wealth depends on the level of decentralization it has. It's actually, the more centralized Bitcoin is, and a lot of cryptocurrencies, the less valuable they will become. However, the more decentralized and more spread out the authority, the power, the control, the stronger the asset is. And ultimately, the laws of how economies work, you will see it take over. You will see it be the main storage of wealth. And BlackRock sees that. They might not love it. They might think maybe if we get in early, we can control it and have, our power over it. That's just going to be a failed issue. They're not going to be able to do it. They're going to stay wealthy. They're going to stay one of the most wealthy companies in the world. But ultimately, Bitcoin is a saving factor for freedom to the people, whereas WorldCoin simply aids into the assets, the ability for those centralized entities like governments and large corporations to continue to push their thumb on your neck and control your every move. So there is a big difference here. But going back into what we're talking about with this whole manipulation story with Mt. Gox, these are the types of things that, well, let's just say BlackRock. Honestly, it's not just BlackRock. There's a lot of other companies joining in with BlackRock. There's a lot of other people and names we probably are not allowed to say on the internet, or we could have bad things happen to us. There are people who are acting as this composite man, and they are manipulating price. They control what stories come out. They probably even control the details of when Mt. Gox does what it does. That's just the way the world works. You can cry about it and say the life's not fair and everything's rigged, or you can learn how everything was rigged. You can understand the mindset of the composite man and people like BlackRock and others, and you can invest accordingly and make a lot of money. That's something that we're learning to do here. That's something we're showing you here on Investing Bros. And right now, Mt. Gox, I'm telling you, this is a distraction. Can price dip? Absolutely, price can dip. Price could probably go even all the way back down to 59,000. But the Mt. Gox story, the FUD, is going to try to convince you that we're heading to new lows, 50K, 45K, 40K, maybe even lower. And I want you to know that that is a lie. That is manipulation. That is exactly what they want you to believe, so that you sell your Bitcoin to them so they can buy more of this dip and rally price to the upside. Embrace volatility. Embrace the ability to have patience and hold your crypto long term. But look for those dips. Look for the levels of strong support and add to them as best you can. That's going to be your best bet for how to make some money. Now, that's the negative side of this, right? There's a lot of positive things happening. This is what we're about to talk about. These other two stories are one of the biggest reasons why I'm so against the spreading of this FUD with Mt. Gox and people freaking out like Bitcoin's about to crash again, because while everything's happening there are other things developing right now that are major. The first one I'm going to do myself here, T-Shroom, and I'm going to throw it to you for the second one. But there was a post put out on Twitter this morning from an account called CryptoCon. Actually, I say this morning, I think this was literally like an hour ago, but it's a great representation. He pretty much is talking about the similarities between what we look like right now on the charts when you zoom out and what we looked like back in 2017. Let's take a look at this full screen. You guys can see here. I'll go to my chart in a second to do it as well. I've talked a lot about there are some similarities in this market to what we saw in 2019, 2020. There's other things that are extremely similar to what we saw back here in 2017, March of 2017. Well, what's happening back here? If you notice, going back into 2013, 2014 area where we hit an all-time high of around $1,200, when we got back to that level in March of 2017, we wrestled, actually had 3 months in that area we spent below before finally breaking through and having a massive run to the upside. Well, once again, we're kind of sitting in a similar spot. It's a little bit longer than just 3 months, but ultimately what it looks like as far as just even price action is extremely similar, but it gets even greater than that when you take a look at this oscillator down here. And T-Shroom, you might need to move well, no, you're good. You're good because there's a similarity right behind my face in 2012 to 2014, but you guys can see here the rising support levels before a takeoff that happened right before these big breaking movements of passing all-time high. We are touching this support once again in a very similar format that we saw actually in 2017 and here in 2020. And if history repeats, in fact, this happened back in 2013 as well, if history repeats for the fourth time, which is something I think is pretty reliable here, we could easily see a repeat of 2017. I don't think we're going to see the same level necessarily. Let's come out here to the monthly chart. Let's turn off Lux Algo for a second, and let's go back into our history here. Monthly chart, 2017. When we broke this level, Bitcoin would continue to rally pretty stinking high here. It would go on to rally another 1,400%, another 15x. Guys, we're not going to get a 15x in Bitcoin from here on out. In fact, we're probably only going to get about a 3x. The point is, though, that the explosiveness started after finally breaking that all-time high, not just wrestling with the area, but finally breaking that all-time high. And right now, when we look at this zoomed out response, rather than just coming in and looking at the 4-hour chart or the 1-hour chart all the time and getting mixed results on what can happen, when you zoom out and you look at long-term investing, this is extremely, extremely, extremely bullish. And just so you know, we say this all the time. You want to invest the way whales invest. You do not want to be investing based off of your emotions or what you're seeing happen on the 4-hour chart. If I'm a whale or an institution and I'm trying to decide to buy Bitcoin now or later, These are the types of charts I'm looking at. I'm not looking at the 5-minute chart and seeing extreme volatility and saying, oh, where am I going to buy? Where am I going to buy? Where am I? I'm coming out here to the weekly chart, the monthly chart. I'm taking a look at the history of how Bitcoin price moves historically, and that is what is making me confident about a good or buy spot. In this case, we're seeing a lot of evidence that this should be a buy. Now, something we talked about yesterday that's extremely bullish for Bitcoin as well is we officially do know now who our vice president candidate will be. And even though his responsibilities are obviously not the same as the president, it is something that sparks hope for the future based off of the policies and the type of person that ends up controlling the number 2 seat in the United States. And not only do we have a young guy, which is very refreshing to have a young politician up at those high levels, but we have ourselves a great ally in the crypto space. We found out more about him here in the last 24 hours. T-Shroom, what do you have for us regarding our new vice president candidate for the Republican Party, JD Vance?
Well, JD Vance, first of all, he's the first millennial to ever be on a presidential ticket in the history of the United States. So he's very young, and he's a symbol of youth. And a lot, if he's going to garner any votes, it's going to be kind of the youth vote on the conservative side. Usually, you hear about the youth vote coming from like more of the left side, but this time, but a lot of analysis, a lot of sophisticated analysis, kind of points to that he's not really so much for this election. In case you hadn't noticed, the election's going quite well for Orange Man. JD Vance is more of a pick for once they win. Right. And, there's a chance that they don't win. However, when and if they do, JD Vance is kind of seen as an insider in the Senate. He's currently a senator. He can get it done. Right. Maybe some of the things that didn't get done in the last Trump administration could get done now. Build a wall, although that hasn't been, a super big talking point this time around. Now you all are tuned into a investing channel.
Well, real quick, before we move on to that topic, here's another thing to think about. No matter who wins the presidency, right? The 3 candidates you have the option to vote for. And by the way, I want to make sure you guys remember this. Anyone you vote for, first of all, it's between you and God and the voting booth. But let's just say you told me who you're voting for. No matter who you vote for, you deserve respect, and I think you have a reason for whoever you vote for. So don't feel like you have to vote for any one person. Don't feel like just because you hear things from the investing bros that we're pushing you in one direction over another. Ultimately, that is the freedom of every American. Vote for who you want. With that said, I had to say that caveat to say, look at our 3 candidates. Now, I will say one of them I'm very impressed by his physical nature. I would love to be half of as good a shape as RFK is when I'm 70 years old, but the man's still 70 years old. Then you have Sleepy Man sitting upwards of, he's in his mid 80s at this point. That's pretty crazy. Orange Man, not far behind. He's about to be 80 years old. I think all of us here in the United States can decide, all right, we know these are our 3 options right now. Next presidency, next election, can we please get somebody who has a long life left ahead of them that might still be able to leave the Oval Office without a full head of white hair? That's something that I think is going to be very, very big in the election of 2028. And so you don't forget that when you're looking at a JD Vance respectability here. Again, first president since 1890s with a beard potentially. That's going to be a cool thing just for myself personally. But don't forget that that's a big driving factor with his selection. He does bring that big youth movement that is going to be massively desired in the year 2028.
Yeah. So, in summary, he's not necessarily going to appeal to more voters. There would have been much better VP selections, in my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of sophisticated analysts, political analysts. But once he's in office, once they're in office, once they win and if they win, he's seen as someone who can get it done in the way that Washington is compatible with, right? So another thing to point out that is extremely important is that as far as politicians go, standwithcrypto.org gives JD Vance a strong supports crypto, so an A, which is the highest rating that they have. You can see a smattering of some of the things that he's done here. Pro crypto, SAB 121 House Joint Resolution, he voted for it. And then, there's all kinds of stuff here. One of the things that pointed out, several Republican senators slammed the SEC on Wednesday over its deeply troubling conduct in recent cases against the cryptocurrency company debt box, and one of them was him. Let's see. And you can go check for yourself on standwithcrypto.org. But ultimately, most of the VPs that were at Orange Man's disposal to pick from were all either neutral or pro crypto. So this is like a B plus outcome for crypto. It's like it's pretty good, right? It's not perfect. Obviously, I think Vivek or RFK would have been more bullish for crypto specifically, but JD Vance seems great. He's young. He's forward thinking, but also holds very fast to principles of liberty. And in a lot of sense, I've also heard some analysts say that he's kind of the MAGA 2.0, right? He's going to live on that MAGA legacy once Trump inevitably passes on for natural causes.
I think there's an element, and again, I think more will come out about his past and his history and his story, because everyone knows when you get yourself in this level of spotlight, your whole life is put under a microscope. He also might just have such a crystal clean and likable past that he's so easily the right person for the next job. And I think people should understand that. I think this selection borderline was trying to decide who's going to be the Republican nominee of 2028. It's a kind of a look ahead. Someone in here said he comes with no votes. There would have been other people better. I might understand. I don't necessarily know if I agree that he comes with no votes. I mean, he's going to come with a lot of Ohio votes and a lot of young votes. Honestly, Orange Man doesn't need any more votes. I think actually after what's been seen in debates and over the last weekend, very slim chance Orange Man ends up losing this election. I think this election really was trying to decide who is the future of the Republican Party. There's people that, I mean, obviously you can't go with RFK. He's not going to be the future of the Republican Party. I would have loved to see it from a personal standpoint, but I understand from a Republican's perspective, you don't want to go with a person who's actually a registered Democrat. There's a question about Vivek. Vivek's unknown. I mean, he's not a politician. That's one of the reasons why I love him and would love to see it. But again, I understand the political thought of saying we don't know much about him. Honestly, you're probably even going to see, if you really dive into Vivek's past, with his experience in the medical field for profitability, you might find some skeletons there. There's a chance JD Vance is one of the cleanest. I've heard rumors he's one of the few people in Washington with a happy marriage. Now, take that with a grain of salt. I've never met the man. Most of you have not met him either. Things can just be spread to try to spread positivity. But if it is true, that's pretty big. I mean, that would be something awesome. It talks about a man of character. When your house is in order at home, that usually is a good sign that you can get things done other places.
Tim, a lot of people are hearing about JD Vance for the first time. But in 2020, a lot of people became intimately familiar with JD Vance without even really knowing about it, because this movie here on Netflix, Hillbilly Elegy, is an autobiography adaptation of the life of JD Vance, going to Yale University. The description is an urgent phone call plus a Yale student back to his calls his. I'm going to start again. An urgent phone call pulls a Yale student back to his Ohio hometown, where he reflects on 3 generations of family history and his own future. Do I recommend watching this? I do. It's rated R, so don't watch it with children. But it's about 2 hours long, and it's a great watch. It received high reviews from people who value liberty. It received low reviews from establishment Hollywood, so you can kind of read between the lines and look for yourself. Look, is this a political show? No. But we're in a political season right now. We just had an outcome that will ultimately affect crypto, right? And JD Vance, while he isn't out here being as bullish on crypto as maybe RFK and others, he definitely is pro-Bitcoin, and he's shown that in his Twitter feed and in the way that he's voted. It's bullish. We're happy about it. Don't read too much into this like we're super one way or another, right? It's just crypto. It's just investing, right? Where politics meets investing.
Yeah, I think it's a good little segue right there. Let's go ahead and transition away from politics. Again, do we love talking about them? No, we don't. It's just honestly what needs to be discussed at certain time periods, and this is the time period. It's one of the most needed things. Let's transition though into the main story or the main topic of the day, and that is Chainlink. Username, you're in chat. I'm going to go ahead and get out of the way. Go by Chainlink. That was for no one else but username. Don't take that as financial advice. We have a big story I want to make sure you guys are aware of because Chainlink has disappointed some people. I've been extremely bullish on it. Several other key figures in the crypto space have been very big on it. But the price action isn't necessarily backing up all of the positivity. With that said, we're seeing a lot of things come into fruition happening right now behind the scenes that maybe the price isn't reflecting, but they do show long-term price movements. Let's take a look at this article real quick. And before I get into the details, I want to point out the ad above. Let's go ahead and show my screen. The ad above, this made me chuckle, so I wanted to show it to you guys. There's an ad right now. Marion, I don't know what this is. Get up to 5 Bitcoin. Claim now. But they're advertising it with an Ethereum. So I don't really know how successful this ad is going to be about actually getting any serious investors into it. Is that important? Not really. It just made me chuckle.
It's funny.
So I want you guys. Yeah, we're having fun, is in the words of a friend of mine that says it quite frequently. Let's go into the actual article here, though. Chainlink price analysis, whale accumulation pattern sets link for major reversal. We're going to do some charts here in just a couple of minutes, but there's some things on the charts. There's also some things on-chain data suggesting that reversals are coming, but it's coming because of the whales. Let's get down in here. There's a chart that's kind of showing some formation stuff, and I'm going to cover it on my charts myself. I'm going to probably do it a little more justice in that chart right there. Let's talk about the details, though. Amid the ongoing market consolidation, the Chainlink price managed to stabilize above $12.20. The horizontal level, accompanied by the support trend lines of falling wedge patterns, created strong accumulation points for buyers. We'll cover that on the charts, what is happening there with patterns, with strength, with support and resistance. Give us just a second. A recent analysis from the on-chain data tracker Look On-Chain revealed that a number of unidentified entities, likely a whale or institutional investor, have been accumulating substantial amounts of Chainlink coins. This is from their Twitter account. You guys can see here. If you want to go take a look at it, follow Look On Chain. Give them a follow. I guess I'm not following them. I'm going to do that later. But you guys can see just several accounts purchasing not a little bit of altcoins. We're talking about at the bare minimum over $133,000 worth, over 10,000 links, upwards to darn near close to 1 million. Right, so maybe the price is not moving like crazy. If I go over here, maybe price is down substantially from the March 11 highs. But guess who is buying? It's the whales. And again, what this article is kind of getting into speculation of is could actually be a lot of institutional buyers realizing that this is the perfect vacuum effect. If none of the retail is invested in it and doesn't want to be invested in it because there's other shinier looking objects that are more attractive, this is the perfect opportunity to pounce on low prices. Because when you dive into what Chainlink does and what it's going to do, this is a project you want to own. Let's keep going on, though. What else is said here? Since June 24th of 2024, Look On Chain has identified 93 new wallets involved in the withdrawal of approximately 12.75 million Link. Guys, Link is hovering in the area of $15 on average over the last couple of months. We're not talking about a couple $1 million. We're talking about over $100 million worth of Link. It's not just being bought. They're creating new wallets to move it from exchange, valued at $167 million. I could have just kept reading for the mathematics there. I speculated myself. They've been withdrawn from Binance. All right, so we're not talking about just being bought. We're talking about $167 million is being removed. T-Shroom, what does it mean when coins are removed from a centralized exchange like a Binance or a Coinbase or a Kraken and put into cold wallets? Is that long-term bullish or is that long-term bearish?
It's long-term bullish because it's taking liquidity off the market.
Yes.
Very simple.
And it's something that, again, I think a lot of people are going to end up missing the boat. Here's the thing. Go back to my screen here, T-Shroom. When we were screaming to the upside here on Link and we set this formation, we got up here to $17. People were begging for an opportunity to buy back down at $11 where we just had hesitated during October. Then we screamed all the way up to $23 and people were probably saying, man, I wish I could have bought some back here at 16. Man, I missed my shot. Well, guess what's happened? While the news has gotten boring and the price has gotten boring and it's pulled back down these levels, and retail goes from saying, I wish I could have, to, Chainlink, it's not doing anything. This is ultimately the bring the boat back opportunity that institutions do all the time when they realize an asset has value and they want to buy it cheaply. But seeing these massive purchases in play, and yet price has only rallied back up to $14 from the lows here of 11. That tells me there's not a lot of people on top of these whales purchasing more recently. It's just the long-term holders who are going to be buying. And those are the types of opportunities you look at for massive investment. Is it fun to look at projects like if we were to come down here and you're looking at projects like, and I'm going to talk about these a little bit later, but is it fun to look at like meme coins that have a lot of attraction here more recently? Is it fun to look at coins even like, let's go to Caspa, and again, no hate towards Caspa whatsoever. I hold it and I want to buy more of it. Where is it on my screen? But there's newer coins that are creating more attractive and more bullish price action. Here's the problem. When retail gets heavily involved in something, you're more looking at a local top. The best time to be investing in projects is when the fundamentals are good. Remember, I say this a lot on the show. Price is downstream of fundamentals, but when the fundamentals of a project are good and the price action is boring and super low, those are the greatest opportunities in the world, and that fits the bill for Chainlink perfectly. But going back to the article, it mentioned that we are in a falling wedge pattern at the moment, and this is something that when we break out, again, I'm not going to say if, because Chainlink is one of those strong projects that's going to have an amazing bull market. I'm not even giving you the top of its bull market price with this call. This is simply talking about a move closer to $30 should be in play once we break out of this falling wedge pattern. Watch when the bulls come into play. It's going to get very rough, very fast, and things are going to get explosive. Right now, we're not in that bullish formation just yet. Unlike Bitcoin and several other altcoins, the daily chart actually is still under bearish control right now. Why do I say that? Well, this smart trail here from Luxalgo, that is the indicator of whether the bulls are in charge or the bears are in charge. And currently, we're wrestling with that level once again. We're wrestling with an order block here at $14.60. This is still the territories of bullish or bearish control. But once that dam breaks, once we break through $15, we head back up here towards 16, wrestle with this resistance, then break through. Do not be surprised to see price action like this. Something we saw in Chainlink before we saw in the rest of the altcoin space back here in October of 2023. We saw explosive price action on Chainlink lead the market. Don't be surprised to see a movement like this once again. It's just a matter of time when that happens. This is an amazing opportunity to buy an asset as valuable as Chainlink at low prices below $20 because very, very soon, we will not be seeing $20. Very, very soon, we won't see $30, then $50, then we won't see $100. This bull market, borderline scenario, we're at least going to see $200. There's not a bit of me that is not expecting at least a $200 Chainlink, but the reality is I'm still going to continue to be super bullish about the long-term effects. I think we might be seeing a $500 to $700 Chainlink. I have seen nothing, even though the boring price action, nothing in the news and no reason whatsoever to get rid of that long-term price prediction for Chainlink. Continue to do your own research. Don't just take my word for it. Hopefully you guys are researching and learning yourself, but when you look at some of the names of people that are bullish on it, when you look at the companies that they are partnering with and what they seek to achieve, here's the number one thing I'll tell you, and this is a coin that's actually getting a lot of excitement today. We'll do some TA on it here in a second. Do you remember all the hype and all the attention and all the attractiveness to, well, when XRP finally gets out of their lawsuit with the SEC and they are the banker's coin, they will connect the banks to the Web3 world, and that's going to be amazing. We might see a $20, $30, $40 XRP. Guess where that hype has gone? The hype has not come to Chainlink in terms of retail investors, but I'm talking about institutional hype. If institutions used to be big on XRP, guess who's signing all the deals with the banks? Guess who's signing all the deals with government entities? Guess who's signing the deals with large institutions like Swift to make sure they have the relationship to transfer and communicate between fiat currency and the Web3 world? It's not XRP creating those deals. They might be getting some smaller ones, but it is Chainlink. It is a sleeping giant. And there's so many people right now who have the philosophy of, oh, I'll buy when I see excitement. We'll get to come back into Chainlink. It's going to be too late for those astronomical gains. The boring seasons are the buying seasons. The exciting seasons are the hodling seasons. Don't wait and become another statistic of retail investors that buy tops. Buy the bottom of Chainlink. Not financial advice, but if you think it's a good purchase, buy the Chainlink Dip and watch your portfolio climb over the next 12 months. T-Shroom, anything you want to add to that before we dive into some other altcoins that are looking nice this afternoon on the charts?
Yeah. The more experience you gain in the market, the more clear it becomes that the market has a perverse incentive to try to convince noobs to do the opposite of buy low, sell high. You, no matter how new, no matter how experienced you are in asset trading and investing, should always be looking to buy low and sell high with no exceptions, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And the market is smart, though. The market's been around for thousands of years. There's been people buying low and selling high and trying to convince others to do the opposite, right? Just keep that in mind. And if you're new to crypto, I always say buy Bitcoin and don't buy anything else and wait multiple months. We talked about this yesterday in the X Spaces at length. Buy Bitcoin, wait a couple months, educate yourself, grow rich in knowledge in crypto and Bitcoin and the difference between the two. I think Chainlink is a good next buy, right? Ethereum is a good next buy after you've held Bitcoin and really invested a lot of time in educating yourself. We have some breaking news, Tim. We can pivot over to that if you'd like.
Well, I was just to say we a sponsor that we have to call out here today, CoinW. We're talking about buying crypto. Whether you're buying Chainlink or buying other things, the place you should be doing it is on CoinW, especially if you're looking for some trades. CoinW has over 300 spot trading pairs. If you go to my screen here, T-Shroom, over 300 spot trading pairs, well over 100 leverage trading pairs. There's no KYC or VPN required to use it. That's a big plus. Make sure to go check out CoinW in the link down below. Guess what happens when you sign up with our link? Even if you only trade a little bit there, just for signing up with a Investing Bros account, you get a free $50 for your first trade. Then once you enter one trade, you'll win another $50, which means just signing up and entering one trade, you will get a free $100 for signing up. Also, we have weekly giveaways every Friday that we give to our active CoinW users. Go sign up with that link down below today. Shout out to CoinW for sponsoring the channel. T-Shirt, what's the breaking news coming in?
Well, Tim, we've got some breaking news. I don't want to get into the details too much of why Elon Musk is making this decision. I'm just going to flash the tweet here on the screen. It's nothing terrible, but we just don't. This isn't where we want to spend our time talking. Basically,
zoom out just a little bit because it's not letting us see everything.
Yep. Gavin Newsom has basically made a decision that takes away parents' autonomy over their children, right? And we'll leave it at that. This is the according to Elon Musk. This is the final straw. Because of this law and many others that preceded it, attacking both families and companies, SpaceX will now move its HQ from Hawthorne, California to Starbase, Texas. There's a place called Starbase? Interesting. So that's breaking news, and that's actually the top breaking news right now on Watcher.guru, Elon to move SpaceX headquarters from California to Texas. So Tim, I mean, is this a huge surprise to you? I didn't know that SpaceX was headquartered in California, to be honest with you.
No, so actually, the reason it's not a surprise is I knew that it was in California. It was one of those things we always thought he was gonna move it into a state more like Texas. And in fact, I mean, Texas, it seems to be the go-to place. I mean, when do you hear about any company moving from California into any other state other than Texas? Texas is the new California, because people are getting tired of. I don't know what I want to say here exactly, other than they're getting tired of living in California. You can probably read between the lines as to why. I think this most recent article, I mean, there's a lot of things in the world that I will stay quiet on in terms of people's political views. When it comes to what Newsom is doing right here, this is something I have to draw the line on and take a stand. That's not okay. I mean, there's a lot of things about allowing you to make the decisions for your own household. That's one of the amazing things about the United States of America, is that you have the freedom to be who you want to be, to do what you want to do, as long as you don't violate anybody else in the process of it. And this is something, these are those types of bills that they have the mindset of like, oh, we're just trying to help the less fortunate, but in the expense of trying to help the less fortunate, they end up violating the freedoms of many. Listen, whatever people do in their own household with themselves, that's completely fine. When you start saying and hearing this rhetoric like our children belong to the government, this is something you've heard a lot more recently. It gets very scary, and that's an issue that those of us who those of us who have a high level of character and morality, we can't stay silent on those types of issues. Again, this isn't the platform to probably just nail on that one and keep going deeper and deeper. What I will say is I think this is a good move for Elon Musk. I think this is a wake-up call to anyone still living in California that the state's gone out of control. The movement towards central authority that violates your everyday freedom, it gets worse and worse and worse every single day. Mm-hmm. Oh, also, guess what, everybody? That Gavin Newsom that is in reference there, the governor of California, more than likely the future of the Democratic Party. We were talking earlier today about J.D. Vance being probably the future of the Republican Party in terms of presidential nominees. We're looking at probably a story about the next nominee from the Democratic Party, and you think he's going to stop pushing policies like that on the rest of the country if he were to become president? You're kidding yourself there. This is a scary situation and we need to stand up and speak against this, even if you're not from California, because it needs to be ceased in California, but it definitely should not be spread out to the rest of the United States.
Yeah. Now, we've got a couple of super chats here we haven't gotten yet to.
Yeah,
we have a factoid of the day, and we also have a clip, a Bitcoin clip that made it onto mainstream media on Fox Business. Okay. We can kind of have a little fun with that here in just a second. But Tim, 11-7 Production said, "God is great, Jesus coin." Okay. Now we love Jesus. Do we love Jesus coin? I think Jesus coin has nothing to do with Jesus. Maybe it does though. You let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Another super chat here from Melk Mims, $5, said, "I know y'all don't do memes, but please, little TA on Caw and your thoughts on Kronos."
Caw and Kronos. NCR legend. Tim one time said he wants to move to Dubai. I don't remember saying I want to move to Dubai. There's a lot of places I would want to move before I move to Dubai. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I said it one day.
Visit Dubai.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. It's super hot there. There's a lot of other places I'd rather live than Dubai. That being said, there's places that are worse than Dubai. Absolutely. Sure. As far as the meme coins, we can take a look at Caw here. Actually, I'll say there's some other altcoins doing some good things. We're going to save that for tomorrow.
Yeah.
The live show. Come back. Well, let's see. There's a chance we won't have a live show tomorrow. We'll have to keep you posted. There's an outside chance we will not have a live stream tomorrow. Have some details I got to deal with tomorrow afternoon. There's a chance I can get out of it. So I'll keep you posted. But otherwise, we'll talk about it Thursday for sure. Let's go over here to Caw. Let's see what's happening. USD, Caw USD. Yeah, we'll look at crypto.com. Newer project. This is Crow with Knife. Okay. I see this all the time. People post in the comments and stuff. What I'll say here, we're just going to do some experimental TA. The price is not that old. It's only been around, at least on this chart, since April, which means I was telling our VIP trading group, if you turn on Lux Algo and you don't even get the red and green clouds of resistance and support, there's not enough candles on that time frame to do good TA. I'd have to go all the way down before I actually get those. Okay, we have the 6 hour, is 8 hour. All right, 8 hours good. 12 hour. All right, the 12 hours where you potentially could make the argument that you start to have some good TA. Bears are in control. I will say this level for the Bulls, they seem to have been defending overwhelmingly this. Oh my gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 zeros and then a 5-8 here for Caw seems to be the level that is defended. And here's what I'll say. It's not even like we're in a bearish formation, because if we were just setting lower highs every single time, you would make the argument, well, the Bulls might defend it, but they're getting weaker. But we've kind of been just a mixed bag here. As a whole, it's actually been those 7 zeros and 8-1. Here, let me give you a start off, guys, because I was going to end the show with talking about acceptable meme coins. And I don't want to make this a blanket statement, but one sign of caution that just should be aware of: when a project is still priced with more than like 3 or 4 zeros before you get to a number that's greater than 0. I'm not saying the whole project is worthless. I'm just saying that's caution number 1. They get people by saying you can own 1 million of these things and you still only own like $1 worth. So cautionary tale number 1. As a whole, though, that 7 zeros and 8-3 seems to be the greatest resistance. We recently made it up towards the 9 level. As a whole, the Bears are in control. Let's see what our oscillators are kind of looking at. Yes, not great oscillator-wise. This is such an ugly chart with ugly price action. I would almost just go ahead and say, guys, the charting on this one is so insignificant other than saying, yeah, maybe if you believe in the project, we're back down at a long-term support level. This is a good buying spot. How much higher can we go? No idea, because it's not that old of a project. It's been mixed all over the place. This is not a chart that looks normal whatsoever. If you think this is a normal looking chart, you're kidding yourself. There's no pattern. There's no rule here. It simply is hey, this is a decent little buy spot. Seems to be where all of the sellers give up, but then it can't decide what the next level of resistance should be. So I'm going to give this a failing grade. This is going to be a Tim does not recommend.
It's unacceptable. It's an unacceptable meme coin.
It is unacceptable. Let's go with what I wanted to end the show with here. We only have a couple of minutes left. I guess we have a factoid of the day t-shirt, but I'm going to do this first. I'm going to do the factoid of the day. Might wrap out with the factoid of the day. I have been in the last couple of months on the opposite side of the meme coin world. I've taken a stand that says, hey guys, listen, if you want to invest in anything you want to invest in, go for it. That's between you and your own personal wallet. I caution people with meme coins. I've been pretty adamant in saying, all right, well, there's a couple things I don't really consider meme coins anymore, and that is things like Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, Pepe. Even when it comes to some of the political coins that have come out, the reason why I don't consider them meme coins is because there's a rational argument as to why things will go up and things will go down. There's even, when you get a high level of volume coming into the space, there's even enough trade to say, you know what, they're going to follow some historical principles of TA. What are the acceptable coins in my book? Well, I'll go ahead and put this. If the meme coin is in the top 100 for longer than 3 months, you need to stay there for 3 months. Just because you flash up and become coin number 90 for 2 days and then fall back out doesn't make you a legitimate project. If a meme coin makes it into the top 100 for longer than 3 months and the volume is sitting, let me get the exact number I want to kind of look at here, but as long as the volume is above $2 million a day, then we can make an argument for that meme coin being worth the risk of trading. And why? Because when you have that much volume, we're talking about a lot of projects here in the top 100, even down here to lower levels, they can get up, actually a lot of these can get volume up closer to 100 million. My point here, though, is you got to have enough volume so that we have experienced traders in the space that follow the right charts. The other thing is you got to have a particular purpose. There are some coins that I am not necessarily big on. Mog coin just jumped up here out of nowhere more recently. It's not yet something that I'm watching and saying is worth a long-term investment. Has it had some great price action in the last month and some change? Yeah, it absolutely has. But it's not something that's long-term sustainable. There's just no purpose in it. The only argument I would make for a coin like Bonk, and let's go over here. This is one that we have been watching actually for a little bit of time. Bonk, it's been in the top 100 for a while. It's actually been kind of following some great technical analysis rules. If you were to bring up TA and look at levels of resistance and support, we've had amazing calls on bottoms and sell signals, or buy signals and sell signals on Bonk. This is something that I think is worth investing in because it has a degree of predictability to it that you can actually trade responsibly. When you're looking at coin number 3,407, when you're looking, I think someone earlier in chat asked me, can we do TA on Purple Pepe? What's the purpose of Purple Pepe? If you can't answer what the purpose of it is, and the volume's not that high, and it has not been a highly ranked coin for a sustainable period of time, that is the epitome of pumps and dumps. What is a pump and dump? It's where a centralized entity, a large grouping, comes together and they pump a token, sending it into the billions of dollars of market cap, only to get a small sign of weakness, get a lot of retail investors in, and then dump the entire project on them. Projects that stay up and high for sustained periods of time, those are ones with actual liquidity, long-term trading value, and possibly still have a strong community that's going to keep it propped up, like a Dogecoin, like a Shiba Inu, like Pepe, like Bonk. And I think someone else put in here Floki. I think Floki is in that camp of saying, all right, I think Floki is getting to the place where at least you have a level of predictability. But when you go into like Dex Swap, for example, and people are finding these brand new coins made within the last week, and they're like, man, this coin did a 10x 2 days ago. How old is the coin? A lot of these coins have the same life time frame as a fly. Flies live for 9 days, people. They're born, they reproduce, they get into your kitchen and annoy the crap out of you, and then they die in 9 days. there's a lot of meme coins that have the same lifespan. Stay away from those projects. Is somebody going to make it 10x, 20x, 50x? Yeah, somebody will. The chances of you being that person, slim to none. Unless you are a trading expert, a meme expert, unless you're in the specialized groups with all of the large KOLs who understand and are communicating about when to buy and when to sell. If that's not you, stay away from those projects. But yes, once a project has shown a high level of volume in trading, B, a sustained period of time sitting at high prices, now you're starting to make the argument for whether it has a strong utility or not. At least it has a strong enough community to prop it up for longer than a simple pump and dump. You can still use the news factor and the technical analysis factor to invest and sell with responsibility. Am I completely anti-meme coin? I'm completely anti-useless meme coins. What's a useless meme coin? Something that's brand new and shows no sign of life long term. There are some that are okay. There are some that you can make money on, but just so you know, you got to trade responsibly still. You always have to be ready to make any move. These are still coins, even the ones I said are okay, that are heavily manipulatable based off of recent updates. So every meme coin you invest in, that's another thing to add into your research bag of what you have to stay on top of day in and day out. So continue to trade responsibly. Stay away from the new flashy pump and dumps that come from nowhere. They're going to go back to nowhere very, very soon. That's my word of caution for you guys with the meme coin world. But I am not completely 100% anti-memes. Just do them responsibly. T-Shirt, as we kind of wrap up today's show, let's do our factoid of the day. If you guys have enjoyed the episode, make sure you smash the like button and hit subscribe. Let's get to 30,000 subscribers in the next, let's call it next 3 weeks. I know it's a lot. It's 4,000 subscribers. Let's go 4 weeks. 4 weeks to get 4,000 no subscribers. Be one of the first 3,000 today. Go hit subscribe. T-Shirt, what's our factoid of the day?
Absolutely, Tim. Well, today, our factoid of the day is brought to you all by LuxAlgo. Encourage you to go check out the link in the description for 20% off LuxAlgo. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose because you've got that 30-day money-back guarantee. Tim, we're going back to J.D. Vance. Newly minted VP pick J.D. Vance served in what branch of the U.S. Armed Forces? Was it A, Army, B, Marines, C, Navy, or D, Coast Guard?
B, Marine Corps.
You said D? Oh, Marine Corps? B?
I said B, Marine Corps.
B as in Brett coin to the moon?
Oh, gosh. All right.
All right, let's see if he's right here, bros. Oh, will you look at that? He's got another dub. Born in Middleton, Ohio, Vance served in the Marine Corps and attended Ohio State University, graduating in 2009, and then he graduated from Yale Law School in 2013.
I don't know if I like the Ohio State detail. Not a Buckeye fan whatsoever. If you're a Buckeye fan, put a W in chat. This is a good day for you guys. I am not a Buckeye fan. But other than that, I can deal with the rest of his his resume. Seems good.
Super cool. Awesome. Well, we do have that one more clip here, Tim. Do you want to?
We have a clip. Okay, I forgot. Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up, guys. I'm gonna be going live with Stocks with Josh here in about a half hour on his channel, 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. So make sure go get a coffee break or a drink break or a bathroom break. Come back and check out Stocks with Josh. I will be over there with him. Interested to see what he thinks about the markets. Him and I sometimes differ on our perspective. What's our clip we got to watch here today?
Yeah. Now, Tim, before we play this clip, when I played it for you the first time, you said that we have to make a new sound effect, like how we have these sound effects here.
Yes.
We got to have a new sound effect. Let me know in the chat, what sound effect do you think Tim was talking about? Let's run the clip.
Why do people love Bitcoin? Why do they love crypto? Well, I got to tell you something. 28% of young folks say they want it, and I'll tell you why. Going back to 2013, the number one performing asset, Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin. How much? How about 315,000%? 315,000%. Why do people?
Oh, that's great. That's great, Tim.
I mean, yeah. How many of you in chat would love for that to become a new soundbite?
Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin.
I just don't know the context that we would play that without it being super annoying.
Pair that, like, put the sound bite together at the end with the guy that goes BitConnect.
Yeah, and then
we'd have a top 10 sound channel here in the crypto YouTube space, maybe top 1.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
All right. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up for today. Again, if you enjoyed the video and you have not smashed like yet, you got to do it. Where are we at right now? Again, at one point, we had over 500 people in here. Thank you for tuning in. We have 233 likes. Get us over 250 before the end of the outro. But with that said, love you guys. I'll be back tomorrow morning with our morning update video. We'll keep you posted on tomorrow's live show. Either way, we will be back on Thursday. So you guys have a fantastic time. See you guys over at Stocks with Josh. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shouted out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms News got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.